Helping Hands for Single Moms is a community-based nonprofit that assists single moms and their families.
I had been a minister for 20 years and thought I always would be one. Just a quick story. I was with another group of ministers and we were looking for projects in the community, but we didn't know where to start. So we assigned each pastor an area to drive and just look to see what we see for needs. And I was out one summer morning in 2001 and came across a little boy, maybe 4 or 5 years old, on a busy street without an adult in sight. And I pulled alongside, told him he couldn't be out on a busy street alone, that we were going to have to get him home. And he actually knew where he lived. I walked with him back into a neighborhood. He took me up to an old rundown house. And when the person answered the door was a little girl, maybe 9 or 10 years old, and her eyes got really big. And I said, "Is it your brother?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Are you supposed to be watching him?" And she said, "Yeah." And I said, "Is your mom or dad here?" And she said, "Only my mom lives here." Well, anyway, as I returned to my vehicle, I realized, hey, what about single moms? And we started the project in 2002. It took off, and after a few years, I realized I had to make a decision. I moved over full-time to work at Helping Hands for Single Moms, and have been there ever since. In most of these cases, the moms have been married to a man, married or the children's father, lived with a man who was involved with domestic violence. In some of the cases, the kid's father just left. But that's the one thing in common that they all share is a few cases we've had moms who've lost their husbands to death. But probably the biggest injustice that they are facing is on a personal level where somebody has done them wrong. Occasionally we run into people who have an attitude of, well, they deserve it. If they're single moms, why should you help them? Why should we help them? They deserve what they've got, which is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. And so there are attitudes, stereotypes that a single mom is just somebody with her hand out trying to make it off society, and the welfare queen type mentality that's been spread for decades. So we run into some of that.
Shara Riggins is a hardworking single mother who manages the pressure of motherhood, school, and work each day.
I wake up 5 in the morning, get myself and my daughter dressed. I have an internship for my field, so I get up, I get both of us dressed. If she's hungry or I'll feed her. If not, she'll go back to sleep. The babysitter comes over. And they will put her on the school bus while I'm at my internship. And then from my internship, I go to class. And then from class, I go to work. And then after work, I pick up my daughter. Depending on which night it is, I'm in several different clubs and organizations on my campus. So depending on which night, I may have a meeting or 3 that day. Go home, cook dinner, shower, homework, bed.
Kristen Higgins is a single mother of an 8-year-old boy named Amari Fallon. Kristen's day starts early at 5:45 a.m. to get her son up and ready for school by 7:35.
Get her up, fight with them in the morning, brush his teeth, wash his face, use your phone, Savannah in the morning. Every morning is a morning. You'll leave out that house about 7:20 for them to be there by 7:35 because you will start taking them up. I come home, I lay down for a little while. I get up at about 9:30 to get myself ready for work. My work gets started at 12 o'clock. I get off at 8. And I come home, usually eat, so I get home and ready for bed. And I'm prepared for the next day.
When we first began to think about how we could help a single mom, we understood the economy's changing, and it's so important with only one income for a single mom to be able to have the job skills.
Everything is a financial issue. I'm always broke. It's not enough money ever. I can work 60 hours a week, 120 hours bi-weekly, and it is never enough money. There's always something. There's always rent to be paid. There's always a car note to be paid. There is always uniforms to buy because he is growing and he's all boy. So he comes home with holes in his clothes when he may have just put them on fresh for the first time in a day. He eats like a grown man. It's never enough money. It's never enough money. Just when I think it's enough money, it's never enough. It just doesn't matter what I do. It just always seems like there's never enough money.
Yes. I mean, as of right now, I'm okay. I would say more or less on a broad spectrum, you just never know when you'll be able to pay that bill or if you'll have enough to put food on the table, because anything can change it. Like, I work now, but let's just say my daughter gets sick or anything and I can't go to work, well, I'm just not going to get paid for that. So, as of right now, I'm okay, but you'll always have that. If something goes wrong, I'm pretty much screwed.
However, now that I have a child, everything that I do, for the most part, I have to consider him first before I can do anything for myself. I have to make sure that he has everything before I buy anything for myself. I need to make sure that he has clothes. I need to definitely make sure that he is. I need to make sure the lights are on. I need to make sure the heat is on. I need to make sure everything is situated for him before I can think about doing anything. Before I can think about going on vacation. Before I can think about going to hang out. You know, even when it comes down to going to work, if there's something wrong with him, 9 times out of 10, I can't go to work because I have to be home with him. So, if I'm home with him, I'm not at work making money like I should be. So, it ties back into it never being enough money. So, I have to consider him in everything.
A lot of the stuff that I do as far as school and the programs I'm in is something that I want my daughter to witness anyway. Like, I want my daughter to see me struggle. I want her to see me go to this rally, advocate for this, protest for this. I'm a social work major, if you can't tell. But so, a lot of the stuff I do, I want my daughter to see it anyway, just to make her a better person.